So I came to New York for a work thing. So we had training in one of our facilities in New York, about an hour away from the city, no, an hour north of the city. So luckily they covered the flight and everything, and I decided to stay in the city an extra weekend. So I decided to stay in the city for the weekend and see Alita, because Alita lives in New York and my train is here, so I gotta go. Okay, bye. Look at me walking through the streets of New York. So look at me walking through the streets of New York like a real regular person. I came to visit Alita in Brooklyn, New York. We came to New York once during senior year?
10 years ago.
Almost 10 years ago, because that was 2013, I think.
Yeah.
That we went to New York. So now Alita's a local, is a resident of New York City. And we went to the flea market, and I found the cutest thing that I'm gonna give to Amaka. I'll show you later. But it's at the Shiki jackets. Bridge over there. How do you feel about living here?
Still adjusting. Still don't feel like I live here.
Is there any advice for anyone thinking of maybe moving from West Coast to East Coast?
You're moving for a job. Give yourself time between starting the job so that you can find a place, because I didn't do that. So it was very stressful.
Yeah. Give yourself time to find a job, to find a place to live. Bailey.
Oh, hi. Hi. What's your name?
I don't know why I care so much if people around me when I start doing my monologue, because I don't even know these people, but I really hate talking around people because I feel like I can't flow. Here's all the things I have to say about New York. Number one, the subways are scary. I was standing in the subway with Alita and I said, hey, I'm surprised that more people don't fall here on the track. And she said, actually, it's a regular occurrence and it's often on the news that people fall or get pushed onto the subway, so that is scary. Also, there are so many different cultures. In the few blocks that I walked to get from the subway station to where Alita lives, I saw Guyana, I saw a whole door that says suya, suya, suya on it. I saw all kinds of West Indian Caribbeans. I saw there's Mexican. There's all kinds of different ethnic groups that live here. I saw Jewish people, all kinds of different religions and things like that. So really, 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 truly, there are so many different kinds of people, and they have so many options of different cultures to interact with in such a tight amount of space. Third thing is, because they have so much business, every street here, like I'm standing around a place where they have like residential areas. That was a terrible, terrible shot there. But there's residential areas with also packed commercial areas. So they use such small amount of spaces to put businesses upon businesses. And so I recognize that folks here can eat out every day of the week for 2 years and still not get to every single potential eating place that is close to where they live. So they have so many more options, so it makes sense to me why you would eat out more often here. Every potential open available space is used to produce a business to sell, right? Fourth thing is I saw a lot of dog poo-poo on the ground, on the sidewalks here. A lot of people have dogs, and they have dogs in Minnesota too. But I think in Minnesota there's more of a social contract about picking up your dog's doo-doo. So New York has a lot of dog doo-doo. Fifth thing that I noticed about New York is that, what was I gonna say? What was the fifth thing? Oh, what was I gonna say? What was the fifth thing? Dog poo-poo, rats. I saw rats. I've seen 3 rats in total so far since I've been here, and it is scary every single time, and that alone makes me glad that I live in a place like Minnesota where you don't see rats just up and down the place. And like there's garbage on the street, like garbage bags, and there's just so many people that it makes sense they produce a lot of waste. And so the rats, no thank you. I saw rats. Sixth thing, the entertainment. We went to the show Aladdin, blew my mind. From the production value, the set value, the music, the flying carpet thing. There's a whole thing about Aladdin and the flying carpet, and I witnessed it and it blew my mind. It was amazing how they handled it. The theater was gorgeous. It was warm. It was the most comfortable seat I ever sat in my life, and so I very much appreciate their Broadway scene there. Top notch, worth it. A lot of walking. I walked 20,000 steps yesterday. I had 20,000 steps in one day, which is the most I've done, I think, in this entire year in a single day. On an average day in Minnesota, because I work from home and I drive everywhere, I'm lucky if I break 3,000-4,000 in a day. What else? What else? What else? If you're new here, don't forget to subscribe. Give this video a thumbs up. And tell me, what's your favorite city to travel to? Or what's your favorite thing about New York City? Oh, Times Square. I don't know if I'm number 7, number 8, whatever. There were so many freaking lights. The boards, like the billboards, but not the what are they called? Just advertisements, the lights on the screens. The screens is what I'm talking about. It's beautiful, it's mesmerizing, but it's also wild and crazy that every possible space on these buildings is used for advertising. I saw a huge thing like the Kardashians, the building, like giant screens. I'm talking about, these people are huge, right? It's wild that this is normal. My battery died on my camera, so I'm gonna use my phone. Anyways, I just thought it was wild that there's these huge images, the most beautiful people you've ever seen in your life, all over the place, and advertising and brand names all over, just on these screens all over the place. I think it's very much business, entertainment, you know, capitalist city of the country, at least, if not the world. I saw a homeless man on the subway. Because there's so many people, you have the bystander effect happening. And there was this man that clearly looked homeless laying on the ground, and like no one did anything. Neither did I, by the way. I don't want to say I'm better than people, but I was worried about it. I'm like, if this man dies in front of my eyes, how could I live with myself? Because of how many people there are, and you know, the fact that everyone doesn't know who anyone else is, kind of. They just kind of accept it as normal. Luckily the police came and shook the shit out of him and woke him up, and he was alive at least. At least I felt better knowing that he wasn't dead. But I also felt like, is this just normal? I wonder how many people die in front of people's eyes every day here and other places too, not just here, but big cities, because of the fact that no one did anything. So that was my takeaways. Other than that, I think it's lovely. I saw the Christmas tree. I definitely couldn't live here, but I think there's things I like about it, like all the food that you can get, different cultures you can interact with, entertainment, access to stuff. It is expensive here, but you know, we walked into a place and did hookah and listened to Burna Boy over the radio or over the speakers, you know. So in Minnesota, it's just really hard to get places that are culturally specific like that. So I appreciate that about here. Oh, and I ordered a bagel for the first time, which you can do that in other places of the country, but generally in Minnesota, when I eat a bagel, it's at continental breakfast or something like that. It comes out of a plastic bag. I usually don't order a bagel, so I just went after her and I said, can I have an everything bagel? And then she's like, that's it? And I'm like, yeah. And this lady really just gave me a bag with the bagel in it. No cream cheese. No, I thought I was getting a sandwich. I didn't know you order other parts of it. So I have to go back and say, can I actually have cream cheese? And so I felt like such a noob. And I'm just really self-conscious of looking like a tourist, even though I am a tourist. But yeah, that was funny. I had never ordered a bagel before, and I panicked and did the wrong thing. I'm gonna go eat my chicken and waffles that I got. I got some breakfast stuff. It's probably cold, so I've been out here talking. That's all for now. Okay, bye. over there. That's crazy. I wonder if they did that just to distract everybody while they rob this. You know, like, that's what I always think. Like, what are they? Oh, hey. Oh. Can you imagine there's a whole place here called Suya Suya Suya? So we do a lot of self-reflection, and I was going to ask, how do you feel like we have changed in the last 10 years? Because I met Alita in 2010, which is actually 12 years ago. So how have we changed in the last 12 years?
I guess I'll say one, like physically, I've changed. I need more time to recover, take things slower, and I embrace slower impact a lot more. Because I understand that my body needs to be taken better care of, and I can't just be doing everything and anything. So taking better care of myself, of my body in that way.
I remember the moment I realized that my knee was, this is forever now. Like before I had been injured and you heal, injured and heal, and that was the first injury I had that I was like, this is gonna last for the rest of my life. It's just my body is permanently different now. And it does take time to like sit with that and just be like, life goes on, I guess. So that's just, it is what it is. But you had that, I think, earlier than me.
My ankle.
Yeah.
Yeah, left ankle just kept, well, both of my ankles, but my left ankle specifically, just kept getting hurt. I never allowed it to heal properly because I was just like, oh, I'm young, I'm nimble, I'm gonna keep going, it doesn't hurt, I can push through it.
Yeah.
But now it's like learning to give myself the proper time and space to heal completely. What about you? What do you think? What else have you noticed that you've changed?
I said earlier this weekend that I felt like I'm more sensitive now, but like in a good way, because we were talking about things about how like you might be in situations when we're in our early 20s and you just let it roll off your back and keep going. But I feel like now, like when I encounter things that disturb my peace, I'm much less likely to just let it roll off, like, you know, because there's so much more stressors in life now, like family responsibilities, work responsibilities, your body's changing, finances are changing. I feel like when I'm much more intentional about protecting my peace. And so when things happen that throw me off or like invade that space, I'm much more likely to respond, period, but also respond with more force, if that makes sense, you know?
Yeah, like emotional change and learning how to create and respect your own boundaries.
Exactly. Yeah. Like people would disrespect boundaries all the time, I think when we were younger. Yeah. And you're just like, oh, that's fine, or like you just kind of talk yourself out of it and live with it, or just allow it to you allow things to happen to you a lot more than I think I would allow to happen to me now.
Challenging it and not just accepting it because, oh, that's just how it should be.
Exactly.
No.
And it's easier said than done because like, even though sometimes I might recognize like, oh, this thing is disturbing my peace, I don't yet feel like I have all the tools to fix it. So I feel like I'm much more in a place where like I'm spinning with ideas and thoughts and recognizing much more what I don't want, but I haven't yet, like I don't have the gardening tools, like using gardening as a metaphor, like to weed out these things. I might not always have the answer of how to fix it.
For sure.
But I'm better at recognizing I don't like this thing and I need to get rid of it, whatever, you know.
Exploring and trying, trial and error, a lot of trial and error.
A lot of trial and error. More intentionally now, I think.
More intentionally, for sure, yeah. Yes, we covered physical, emotional / I don't know, mental?
Yeah, mental for sure. I'm tired more. I feel like that's what I say all the time now. Like, I'm tired, I'm tired, I'm tired.
Yeah.
I
guess maybe connections, just because I'm thinking about, it's still fresh in my mind, just living in a new city.
Right.
Being intentional about connections and not just like going out to do things, but also being okay to do things by myself, but then being intentional about those connections and the people that I'm meeting, and like what are they adding to my life, what am I learning from them, like, and how are we going to grow together?
Right.
Yeah.
Right. The question I think we've talked about, I don't know how many times this weekend we said the word value, but also like, how is this adding value to my life right now? I feel like we put ourselves in situations when we're younger that do nothing for us besides, yay, we're here, we're living, we're enjoying.
I think you said a phrase earlier, maximize. I don't know what it was.
Something about value, I think. Like,
yeah.
I think I talk shit about Gen Z a lot these days, which is a personal problem.
Yeah.
But like recognizing things in them that are different from me now. Like I see how they live right now and the things they ask of their work life.
Yeah.
They ask for way more than I think we ask for in our work life in terms of time and boundaries. And I thought I had it good when I was working, and now they're asking for so much more. We were talking about the 9 to 5 and like how much our lives are devoted to doing that just to live.
Yeah.
But I think we do okay. Like we do okay existing and living. But then I get scared, like, is this for the rest of my life? I just have to like, is this it? Like, which ties to the next topic we were talking about was fulfillment. And like, what does that even mean?
We can have all the ingredients, right? A job that pays well, we have a roof over our heads, we have food. It's like, okay, well, you should be happy. Why aren't you?
What's missing, right? And it's a hard question. Because I think the part you said about connection, because it was like, you want to have these connections, but like, they're actually hard to come by. We met in undergrad, like 12 years ago, by chance. I was like, I think we got lucky in the fact that like we have this relationship in the first place. So I can come here and dump all this stuff on you. But then like, how do you then get another opportunity like that at this point? I'm like, I don't know. I don't know if you really get a lot of those opportunities.
We're both trying to make new friends, right?
Right.
And it's like, how do you do that? Learning how they text, and just like I feel like we both kind of understand, like, okay, she doesn't text right away. I know she's gonna text back. Like she takes her time, blah blah blah. Right. But it's like some people are not always like that, or like just understanding the dynamics.
Right.
And like, and not being a burden if you do want to, like, I need someone to talk to. Right. Hear me out. And not feeling like you're being a burden to them. Right. By asking them to hear you out.
Connection conversations. Like, you want to have good conversations, you first have to build up the trust. It's really hard because like when we met, we were undergrad, so it's like, how do you recreate what it took 12 years like you can't recreate 12 years in a one, you know, first time meeting someone anymore, you know?
Like, we lived together, we traveled together. It was like,
it just kind of happened, I think, naturally. And so I don't know, it's tough. And I feel like I don't like, not that I don't like people, but it feels so much more like you have to invest an amount of energy that I don't want to do as much anymore. I'm just more protective. Like I just don't.
Yeah. Like, how do you get past the small talk stage? Because it's like, it's so exhausting. Like,
well, okay, we're talking about connection. How do you have these conversations? And we can kind of identify where we don't want to have them. So like for work, for example, like we say, okay, so you always ask them, oh hey, you're walking by, oh hey, how are you? You expect them to say good, fine, all right. And then that's kind of what it is. You don't actually expect them to
give you your whole life story.
Give the whole life story, or like actually tell what's going wrong, right? And so I don't want to have those conversations at work. You know, I don't want to have those conversations with my parents. And then meeting new people is hard. So then where do you actually have a chance to have these connection conversations, you know?
Yeah. Ooh, good.
It's fucked up my whole life right there.
That would have been unique.
That would have been the whole thing, right? I'm definitely grateful. I don't know how, like this was a much needed weekend. Like I needed to get out of the house. I needed to just like get these things out and just talk through it. So I'm very appreciative of like having, so I kept asking.
I was happy, no.
Oh yeah, I'm dumping, I'm gonna get a therapist, I promise I'm gonna get a therapist. I don't want to dump all this stuff on you right now, but.
I hope you felt like I was a good listener.
Yeah. I definitely did. I feel like just being able to like, you're talking, knowing that I don't have everything figured out, but like, I said, okay, I don't have this figured out, but like, let me just tell you where I'm at right now, and having that be received, you know?
Yeah.
So, but I can't explain to people how to do that, I can just say our story. We got lucky, I think.
Yeah.
In that. So 12 years is crazy, right? And it's like you were saying yesterday, like that's almost half of our lives.
Half of our lives.
Right? That's half of our lives. It's crazy. I think we're like both entering next phases, or just like
Next phase of like how to live with a partner.
with a partner. Man, I'm gonna do a whole bit. No, I love you, Matt. I love you. I know he watched that. I love you, Matt. I love you, baby. There was one other thing I was gonna say. I can't remember. We both come from immigrant families, and there's like maybe a certain mindset where it's like you don't feel comfortable expressing what your own current struggle is, because it's compared to what their struggle was. Like yours seems very minimal, and so we get stuck in this mindset of anytime we feel like, oh well, I'm not like happy with this situation, they're like, well, what are you unhappy about? Like, you have a job, you have your health, you have all these things, you should just be content and be glad and be happy. But then so when you feel that's like, maybe I'm not exactly happy, not that I'm mad at what I have, but like you feel like something is missing, but you also feel unable to express it, like the anxiety of expressing like, I'm not exactly happy, or like, I don't even know if happy is the right word. I gotta follow these trees. There's an expectation that just having certain things in your life should equal you feeling happy or equal you feeling content. And so like for me, it was heavily about finances. Like, you have to take care of yourself, you have to be able to like be able to live and pay rent, all that kind of stuff. And so when I was able to do those things, I was like, okay, I have done the things I've been told will then bring me this kind of fulfillment in life, but yet I don't feel it, but I'm scared to express it because then I feel like people will view me like I'm being ungrateful, or like they'll minimize whatever you're feeling and say, well, at least, you know, you don't have this and this, right?
Toxic positivity.
Toxic positivity, that's what it was. Like getting out of that survival mindset, but always knowing that you have to still kind of decide when to have those conversations, basically, like who you're having the conversation with.
Yeah.
So
learning to live more in the present and not just constantly planning for the future.
That's true. Yeah. Survival mode, we're always just like, what am I gonna do next? What am I gonna do this? What am I gonna do next? I think accomplishment was always like a double-edged sword for me, because like as a child of immigrants, it's like, oh, we did all this stuff for you to be able to achieve and accomplish, which I'm grateful for. But your whole life cannot be centered around accomplishment, because it's not going to fulfill you. At least not for me. Maybe some people out there.
You're always going to be chasing something.
You're always going to be chasing something. Like, and that chase, if you're fit and able and you can do it, great. But when you're tired, you don't want to be chasing.
Broken knees and ankles.
With busted body. This is just tired. This is just tired out here. We're tired. How do you shut off your mind from constantly chasing the next thing? I don't have the answer, but at least I can kind of.
We're gonna continue living,
yeah.
exploring it.
One foot in front of the other.
I think that's already like a great first step. Not everybody really kind of dives into feelings and thoughts like this, like questioning.
That's true.
Getting deeper. So
the first step is just recognizing. So, but yeah, appreciate it. Appreciate you.
Appreciate you too.
Let us know. I don't know who. That's why I just talked. I'll let them know. I don't know who it is out there, but anyone's listening, let us know. Let us
know your thoughts.
Let us know your thoughts. Experiences. We don't have any solutions. We're just knowing that we want to have the conversations. So cool. All right, bye. We are out here at Greenwood Cemetery, and the reason I had come out here was because, you know, I like cemeteries that sometimes have pretty designs and stuff, and also because I had heard that Pop Smoke was buried here, or is buried here. But then we were looking for it and we found out that it actually had been vandalized, and so they replaced his section with an unmarked slab. So there you go. This is where it would have been.
That one.
Which one? It's probably this one.
Wasn't it at the bottom?
It was at the bottom, and it was next to, I think, one that started with C. So this one that says Carmelo.
Yeah.
So this is probably. Oh, look! It's written right there. Pop Smoke. Yeah. So I guess that's his tomb. A lot of these folks died more recently, because you see some that people have died like in 18 something. So a lot of these ones were like 2002, 2018, 2017. So there it is. There's Pop Smoke's